And I've been working hard trying to get this audio working correctly. So we're just gonna get everything situated, everything started. Um, and yeah, man, it's about to go down. So this is a episode right here. This is an episode of the 1028. For those listening, I want to let you know my name is Corey Ochai, and I may live in Sharpsburg, but I'm from a beautiful place called Braddock. And yesterday was a historic day. I don't know much about politics. This is not going to be about politics. This one is going to be about the people that are from or have they have navigated in their story, their journey runs through Braddock. That 15104. Shout out to y'all, man. Stand up, Braddock. We did the damn thing yesterday, man. Did the darn thing in the election. But like I said, this whole segment, it um will not be about politics. I'm not the type of guy that's going to talk about things I don't know much of, but I do know people. And I want to talk about John Fetterman. I want to talk about Summer Lee, and I want to talk about the actual people because I did grow up with Summer Lee, and I've seen John Fetterman go from a community activist to the mayor to now the senator. Now his position in the state. And it's a beautiful thing, and I want to tell you how these two people inspired me to be a better person and the type of people they are. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we at, man. That's where we at. All right. I think we're in there. I think we're all good, guys. I'm gonna share this a few other places, and I'm gonna start the story as I'm doing this, guys. So I'm gonna start off with Summer Lee, man. The beautiful, the most prestigious, the most honest, the most genuine person that I've probably grew up with. Her name is Summer Lee. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've never seen Summer Lee lose a race. And I'm not just talking about politics because when we were younger, Summer Lee was probably one of the fastest people literally running that I ever seen. I've never seen her lose a race ever. And she's always been a very strong person, said what's on her mind, and I never seen her get into it with anybody because she was genuinely there to help other people on their journey. We went to the we actually she lived right up the street from me when I was in when I lived in North Braddock, and our bus stop was the same. I would think I'm a year older than Summer Lee. You know what I'm saying? This young lady and the things she's doing, I'm telling you, being from where I'm from, being from Braddock, and to be able to look on the news or look not even just on the news, look on CNN, look everywhere you turn, you see her face. What it does is gives us people from Braddock inspiration. And that is exactly why the title says the yellow brick road leads to Braddock because the things that are happening from this my hometown, the people I'm seeing there, and the things they're doing now. No one would have probably expected it if you seen us 20 years ago growing up in this town. Now, most people, I don't know if you ever been to Braddock, but if you have, I'm not going to say aesthetically, it's probably aesthetically, it's probably not the most beautiful place aesthetically, looking. It looks, the colors are very dry. It's an old steel mill town. And most people think of it as run down. We call it the dirty dock, and I'm proud of that. Proud of that truth. I am proud of that. But it's a beautiful place, and it's beautiful people that are. You ever heard of the book that Tupac wrote? It was called "The Rose That Grew from Concrete." That's what I think of when I think of John Fetterman and I think of Summer Lee. You know, Growing up in Braddock, there's a lot of pressure, but they say something about pressure, man, that's important. Either bust pipes, and it can bust pipes or it can create diamonds. And there's a lot of diamonds that came out of the pressures that you had to go through growing up in Braddock. Braddock, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna go from Summer Lee to John Fetterman. Uh, I never knew we even had a mayor until John Fetterman ran for mayor. And I'm gonna tell you how I met John. Uh, Growing up in Braddock, there wasn't a lot of opportunities, wasn't a lot of things to do. John came to our town. This funny looking white man came to our town and opened up a community center. Now, a lot of people at this time were dropping out of school because school wasn't a priority for us. A lot of times it was survival, and we had to make money to do that. There wasn't a lot of opportunities to do that. A lot of people went the opposite way, but we knew that to get a job or to go out there into the field, you had to at least have a GED, and there was no place locally that you could do that. So John created this community center, and in this community center, there was an option where you can take classes to get your GED. A lot of, when I say real ones, I'm talking real ones. Like, people, people that weren't going to make it in high school, but still wanted to, acquire that GED so they can go out into the world. High school ain't for everybody. So John created a place where you can at least get your GED and go on and go forward. This funny looking white man named John Fetterman, I love this guy, didn't just give us the program to get the GED for those that needed to get a GED. He also gave us confidence. Because let me tell you, I'm going to step back. Walking into John Fetterman's community center and into his office, you walk into his office, you see Scarface on the wall, posters of Scarface. You would see, quotes from the Scarface movie. Now, if you from my neighborhood, if you grew up in the 90s, and Scarface was a very influential movie that that inspired us to become entrepreneurs. Maybe not in the right sense of, it wasn't just like entrepreneurs to sell drugs, but it was just like entrepreneurs to it was an influential movie that meant a lot to us to see somebody come from rags to riches to get to the top of their field, regardless of whatever it was. And it was like Rocky, but it was Rocky with somebody who was from a place like we're from, and so it inspired a lot of us in many ways, not just into the legal trades, but in general, like, that mentality, what it takes to get to the top. That's what I think inspired us more than, I would say, the other activities that was going on in it. But anyway, John Fetterman is one of those people who, if you went into his office, you would see things you didn't expect from somebody a caliber of that person. What I'm talking about is I walked into this funny looking person, white man's office, and it was pictures of Scarface all over the place. And John sitting there doing some type of work, connecting the dots to give us the opportunities that other people are receiving that we weren't receiving in our neighborhood. Shout out to John for that. And next to these posters, there was also something else that sparked, and there was also something else that really that was unusual. It was a diploma or a certificate from Harvard University. When you sit down and talk with John, John doesn't talk. He doesn't talk over you. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't use big words to explain things. He breaks it down very black and white. He knows how to communicate with people who don't necessarily come from a background of, you know, that he knows how to talk to people from the hood, man. He knows how to talk to us. You know what I'm saying? Us in general. He knows how to talk our language. A lot of times you see somebody who graduated from Harvard, they use big words, they use words that kind of go over your head, they look down on you. John was not a type of person who's going to talk down to you. I think of John as a leader, of not somebody who's going to stand on top of a stage and talk to you. He would get into the crowd and look you eye to eye and talk to you that way. He never made me feel, when I talked to him, like he was better than me. He always made me feel like I can be just I can be what I'm seeing. And I love John for that. You know, you walk into his office and you see the posters, you see his Harvard diploma, and you see a man. You don't see somebody like it looked attainable. He made it look attainable. That's his personality and the way he approached things. It was beautiful. Well, regardless of that, let me keep continue with the story because I'm kind of stumbling over my words. I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it. But John, man, he did so much for our community in Braddock when it came down to influencing us and informing us of what is going on the other side. Now, being from the neighborhood that I'm from, we didn't have access to a lot of the information to progress. Uh, you know, um, and we didn't have a lot of people who didn't look like us that were fighting for us. And a lot of times we weren't allowed into some of the rooms because of the perception of who we are and where we're from. But John was the type of person that came from that area but brought that information to us, which gave us the ability to, and not just that information, he brought the resources to us. Like after you would get your GED at the place that he was running, he would also hook you up with a trade school, or a place where you can further your education. No, letting us know that just because you don't got a diploma doesn't mean that you can't become, someone or a functioning citizen in society. He opened that door, man, and then he wanted to become mayor. I remember when what he did was he wanted to become the mayor of Braddock, and it always baffled me. I was like, oh, we got a mayor. I thought we didn't even have a mayor because whoever the mayor was before John, I've never seen them. They never talked to us. They never came to any of the functions, and if they did, they never presented themselves as mayor. I didn't even think. I only thought that existed in like rich white communities, not in our community. And I was like 13, 14, maybe even a little older, not even putting the dots together. Like, do we even have a mayor? Is that even a thing over here where I'm from? I didn't even know if there was council meetings, but we did. And John ran for mayor, and how he approached it was because he worked with us, the youth. He worked with all of us, the youth. Um, he had us. He started teaching us about the process. So he had us go knock on doors and let them know that John was running for mayor. And these people would ask us, who is John and what is he doing? And we would tell him, like, hey man, he's the guy. He's the only person I know that cares about us. And in his position, and it'd be great to see the other things he can do. I know some flat out. When I'm gonna say it, I knew some just flat out gangsters, man, hustlers and go getters. You know what I'm saying? That respected John. Because John didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. John told you what you needed to hear and how they're looking at us, how people are perceiving us. And he knew that we were so much better than what other people thought we were. And he's the only person that's seen it in us. He's seen more in us than we seen in ourselves. And I shout out to that man for that. Beautiful. So to continue the story, uh, John actually became the mayor. He won it, and the things that start to happen in it, you seen the shift in the town. You seen people my age wanting to be a part of the community. You seen people my age wanting to got a chance to see what it looks like to run for mayor, not just run for mayor, but win it. Because this was the first time I actually was looking at the news, talking about and telling people to go out there and vote. This was around, I think this might have been before Obama. This might have been before Obama. This might have been right before Obama. But that was the first election that I was actually a part of and actually cared about. And because we were all telling everybody to go out there and vote and stuff like that, and we actually got a chance to see it work, because he actually won. And then he started to implement other things. He started to bring different businesses into the community. We start to see people that we've never seen, wanting to invest in our community. And it was like we start to see growth, we start to see progress, we start to see the crime go down. Don't get me wrong, there was still crime and all that other stuff, but we knew, the police start to respect us because we had John on our side. That was another thing that was weird. Like, yo, I get in trouble. Like, you pushing up on me for no reason. Like, yo, I'm gonna go down there and talk to John, and you know what I mean, have him straighten this out for me. Like, I felt like I had somebody on my side on that. You know what I mean? And seeing that inspired me, man. This is the type of person John is. John would get, all right, say there was a murder in, or say there was somebody who was murdered or something like that in Braddock. What he would do, if you seen the picture with him like this, and you seen the 15104, that's shout out to 15104. That's the zip code for Braddock. The man tatted it on him. That's with him for life. That's a part of who he is for life. That's the commitment this man has. And I'm gonna talk about commitment. If you look on John's his other arm in that picture where he's like this, and you can see the 15104 on his other arm, you'll see dates, and those are dates of people that died that were a lot of times murdered, or murdered in the town or from the town. And every time one was solved, he would cross it out. You hear me? He has dates of every murder that happened in Braddock at the time he was in office. And whenever the murder was solved, he would cross it out. You know why he did that? Do you understand what that is? He cares because he has to look at that every day. It's a reminder of where he came from. It's a reminder of where he came from. Some of those dates are some of my friends, man. And he'll never forget. He don't have tattoos all over his body. He got those specifically for that. That man wakes up to it. And it reminds him what's out there, what's going on. And he wants justice, you know what I'm saying? For that. Man, that man believed in us, bro. That man believed in us for real. And let me get back to Summer Lee. I'm gonna tell you what type of person Summer Lee is. I've seen Summer Lee. Summer Lee's a fighter, man. Like I said, I never seen her lose a race in my life. Because, for one, I'm just talking about like in general. She was on track team. She was fast, but she was always so smart and intuitive, and always easy to talk to. Always concerned for her fellow person. You know, I don't even think I ever seen Summer Lee get in a confrontation with anybody, and that's what that me. Y'all can't hear me. Can y'all hear me? Dang man, I just went in and I was hoping I'm hoping this thing didn't just kill my sound when I was in the middle of this. But if you hear me and you from Braddock, I just want to tell you, man, you're special. You're doing something great. I'm proud of you. Stand up 15104. Shout out to Dave Bracy. Shout out to Summer Lee. Shout out to John Fetterman. Shout out to all those out there going for their goals. You're dope. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you it. You it. I hope I didn't just botch that, y'all. I'm hoping y'all caught all that, and I'll do it again and again and again until it's right because y'all gotta hear this story. All right, I'm out. This is the 1028. For those watching, thank you. For those that want to follow us on YouTube, it's the 1028 podcast. For those that want to follow us in our channel on Facebook, at the 1028 podcast. And I'll talk to you next time, man. Shout out to you, Summer Lee. Shout out to John Fetterman. Keep doing what y'all do, goddammit, because that's what it is. Have a blessed one. Go out there, do something beautiful. The world's counting on you. And let's keep it going, Braddock. Let's keep it going. All right. Peace.